Hi guys, today we're going to talk about why I write about vampires. Welcome to Blood Talk. I'm Parris, and this is my channel. Blood Talk is where I talk about my writing, other people's writing, reading, and vampires, because that is my main topic of writing. I write about vampires. So, today, we're going to talk about my vampires in my Dark World series, in Judgment, my urban fantasy romance, in the rather depressing tales of Patricia Lauren Bourdeau, a short story I'm turning into a novel, and my erotica, I guess, if I can talk about that on YouTube without getting in trouble. So, to begin, my vampires in the Dark World series are more of a meditation on being othered, not belonging, what it means to be a monster. All of this, I'm not like pushing this in your face, but it is a theme. It is one of the many themes in the series. It just happens to be about that because the general synopsis of the story is that these creatures, like beyond vampires, werewolves, elves, enchanters, they all have to deal with this world they're living in that has been made darker, literally darker, by the vampires and the werewolves' existence. That's not me putting some forcing some message down your throat. That's just what I decided to write when I was 16. My Vampires in Judgment, my Patreon serial, is they're more contemporary. It's set in modern times. It's set in Long Island and New York City nowadays. So the vampires in that series are the bad guys. Oh, I know. I never thought that I would write about vampires who are not the main characters or not the good guys, but I kind of do because I twist it. But you'll see. If you're on Patreon and you're reading my serial, thank you so much. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think about the serial as I continue to write it. But if you're not on Patreon and you're not reading it, there are some short stories up for you to read on my Patreon. So it's for free. Just scroll to my Patreon and you'll find them. Judgment is about a Italian lawyer and a black, she's not African American, she's a black British born witch who has to awaken the lawyer to his witch powers, all the while avoiding the vampires that are everywhere, who are trying to find him also and trying to kill him before he can awaken his power. And they're in love. They have the witch and the lawyer, they have a storied history of past life love through the many years of life. They're tied to each other. It's one of those, yeah. It's an urban fantasy romance, capital R romance. Yeah, so I'm having fun actually writing it. I've never written urban fantasy before. My Dark World series is epic fantasy. I've never written urban fantasy or a romance, so this has been a learning experience for me. I very much like it. I like the quick writing style I'm doing now, the quick sentences, the emotions, everything. It's really fun. I'm in my Dark World series, if you've noticed, I kind of stretch things out. There's some what people will call purple prose. Maybe my editor kind of made me stop doing that, but I got better with it as the series went on. But I'm discovering my style as a writer, and I think that is the most important thing. And the best part is the feedback I get from you guys who are reading my work, who say I'm a good writer, or you like my writing, or whatever the case is, especially with the erotica. Okay, so I have never written an erotica before, and I mostly wanted to do it to get used to writing the happy scenes in my romance work, because I found in the epic fantasy and in Judgment, the romance, that I was hesitant to be explicit with those scenes. Even though I wanted to, I wasn't sure how to because I wasn't confident in myself as a writer. So I said, screw it, let me just dive right into the deep end and write an erotica. And you guys seem to really love it. Those who have read it and left reviews on my Patreon post, it's free. Go read it right now. I have parts 1 and 2 are up right now. They're up right now. Yeah, you guys seem to really like it. I'm getting nothing but good feedback. You guys think it's hot and heavy. I'm so grateful. And I'm happy that the theme of the vampire using the werewolf, the female werewolf, hasn't turned anyone off. It hasn't made anyone upset, because all of my work deals with darker themes than I guess most writers are comfortable writing now in our current climate. But I am going to write whatever I want to write, and I'm going to write what comes to me, and what comes to me are darker themes where the characters are not so black and white, they're not goody two-shoes, they do questionable things. Like these are all of my characters across all of my work, because I believe in writing my characters as people, as I am, as everybody is. We are all multifaceted beings. I do not believe in defining someone as the consummate good guy and the consummate bad guy. Everybody has different flavors of life and different whatever in them. So I feel to write one character as, oh, this has to be inherently good, and one character as this has to be inherently bad, is just not how I roll. So if you're not comfortable with exploring different themes or darker themes, then you might not like my work. And I'm not saying that to be edgy, I'm not saying that to be controversial. That's really what I write about. So the erotica is up on Patreon right now. It is not a goody two-shoes experience. There's not consent in it, so that's just to let you guys know off the bat. So but these are fictional characters, this is not real life, so I am of the firm belief that you can write whatever you desire, as long as you yourself as a person recognize that to do any acts that harm another person without their consent is not okay. My PSA is done. Okay, so moving back on to my vampires. So my vampire in Patricia Lauren Bordeaux, that is a woman-ish novel reminiscent of the 18th century novels where the women wrote in their journals and are telling you the story as they write in their journal. I wanted to write about a vampire woman in 1770 something London, England, who is telling you her story of how she became a vampire, why she became a vampire, and how she lived her life. It is not by any means going to be a pleasant story. It is not by any means going to be a comfortable story. I set out in the beginning to make this a very, not graphic, but a very dark story, because I myself have been through some kind of dark things, and I wanted, when I first started writing about this when I was like younger, I wanted to kind of express what I've been through this story. So it got picked up as a short story in now defunct publishing company, and I got rave reviews for it, but now I want to make it a full length, and now that the last book in the Dark World series is almost done, or I'm lying, is halfway done, and I can hand it to my publisher, I want to really focus on the other things I'm writing as well. So she is a vampire that is, I love her. She's very strong. Like, you're gonna see throughout the book that she's a very strong-willed character. She does not confine to the society at the time limitations of what a woman should be. She goes through her own notions. Yeah, and it just gets really dark, but she comes out stronger for what she's gone through in these dark times. So the last book I'm writing, or the last work I'm working on right now for my vampire-oriented work, is the pirate swashbuckling vampire story. If you are following me on Patreon, you have no doubt read the short story or the first chapter of Senator Sharp, Dark Waters. Senator Sharp is my mercenary, badass guy. He and his crew are on a mission to capture or kill a prince in their world. They have to travel by boat. He has a massive boat. And there are rumors that the land they're going to are filled with strange beings who cannot go out in the sun. They're devoid of all life in their body, and they drink blood. And that is it's to me, it's a fun little take on the vampire mythos, where instead of starting the story with the vampires, I'm kind of introducing them in a larger scope, in a darker. Senator Sharp is going to be a much darker epic fantasy than the Dark World series was. The Dark World series, I feel, is palatable for adult audiences who generally like fantasy. You can get into it, enjoy it if you like it, and then put it down. Senator Sharp is going to be much darker because now I feel like I can go there the way I wanted to with the Dark World series, and I can explore death and darkness and have my vampires not be so cunning and not be so sharp and everything. So these are the stories I have on my Patreon, or I have plans to write. So yeah, if you want to read any of them or any of the short stories I have on my Patreon, the link is in the description below. Please get on that. Please support me and subscribe to my work if you are a fan of any of it, if you like my videos, if you like my writing, anything that I make or create. Please support me. If you can't, that's 100% okay. A subscription on my YouTube is well enough. So yeah, this is just a quick video. I just want to talk about my vampires a tiny bit, let you guys know what I'm writing and a little bit about the themes in my writing. If you want to know about any more of these works that I've talked about, please let me know in the comments below, and I will answer all of your questions if I can. If I can't, sorry, but I will try my best. So this was Blood Talk, and I'm Parris with Blood and Love. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.